white supremacy is always going to be here. It's always going to show up. It's always going to be here. I feel like AOC, because she covered this in her Ether diss. Like, bro, it's always there. It's always there. But the thing is,
what an optimist,
bro. It's not going away because it's a culture, bro. It's taught.
Let's do it.
It's the base. LOSO__G.
DK, the engineer.
It's your boy. Let her have the T. B4V. You go, boy.
It's the base.
Run down.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
All right, so let's get fucking started, man. Before let's move away from Edwin's terrible energy in that fucking intro to talk about somebody with great fucking energy. El Donald Trumpo, man, in his last fucking week.
45.
Son, this shit has been the most ridiculous trip, son. Since the last time we linked up and we spoke. So
better than the
just to hit up like the main things, right? There was the Giuliani era. You pair that up with the hearings, right? Just the ridiculous amount of lawsuits, the baseless lawsuits, just the TV shows that they would put on all those hearings and stuff like that. Just amongst other things, and that just dragged down for like a while. And I'm not gonna front, during that shit, I was like a little worried because during that time I started watching like Newsmax and the other channels and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And bro, it was like nonstop terror, bro. Like I was just like, am I going crazy? Like it was convincing, son. Like they did a really good job of like making me think that the Democrats cheated. Not good in the sense that it made sense, but just good in the sense that they kept just saying it so often, even though it was baseless, to the point like that I was kind of convinced. I was like, it's not convinced that it was real, but convinced that enough people were going to think that shit was real. And then that shit was going to ride out in the other direction.
Well, enough people.
Other people. Okay.
Well, enough people did think it was real because, a certain event took place as a result of it. So, segue.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I guess before we get to that juicy part, the Naruto raid, I do want to point out, I guess that the phone call with the Georgia Secretary of State, which I thought was fucking bananas, I listened to that shit, an hour-long conversation, son, where it was just like, that shit sounded like the clip from like a mob movie, bro. Like he was just speaking here's kind of like, and I guess we'll get to this in one of the later questions or a little later on. But that shit was fucking bananas, son. That shit came out, and just just how gangster, to put it nicely, this motherfucker like Trump is. Like he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. Then this all of this crap led to the attack on the Capitol, which was I don't even know what to say about that shit. I don't know if one of y'all want to see that. Bro. That shit was just insane. How that? Well, it was insane that it happened. And then I guess how many people? I remember one person got shot.
Five people died.
Yeah, one cop for protesters, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Rioters.
A cop got beat with the American flag to death.
No, he survived. Believe it or not, that guy survived. I've been doing some research on that particular guy. He actually barely survived. But that was almost number 6 right there.
I saw the video of the lady getting shot. He like wandered.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
He was camping. He was camping.
Mm-hmm. He's camping. But I don't understand what you expected to happen. Like that shit is kind of like insane.
They thought they were going to get in, just like everybody else.
Evidently,
they didn't really think it through. I mean, I think probably the vast majority of the people there were just there to just be there, and then there was like that small 5% fringe that were like, "Oh yeah, we're actually going to break into the Senate chamber and do something." Psych.
Was there something specific that happened that like incited that? Like how? Because I've been seeing like decent headlines too, saying that like this was like certain parts of it were a little bit more planned. I guess it seemed.
It was like a whole bunch of people. It's just a whole bunch of moving parts. It wasn't like one coordinated effort, but this was known for months that people planned on going to the Capitol at some point to protest the election results. There are independent actors, such as the person who put the pipe bomb in the RNC. And I also think they found suspicious packages at the DNC as well. this was pretty well known. And it's like, if people knew about it, then the authorities definitely knew about it. It's pretty much a failure of the Capitol Police. They should have known something was happening. What I think happened is that they definitely highly underestimated. Oh yeah, they highly underestimated what was happening, and you could even see the cops there. They were so understaffed, so undermanned, to the point where it's like you remember the photos circling around of like cops taking photos with protesters and things of that nature. I thought about it a little bit more, and it's like, you're one cop surrounded by hundreds of people. You're way understaffed. What the fuck are you going to do? People are like, oh yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, because think about it. You have to take the gamble. It's just basic numbers. You shoot somebody, everyone may back off, or you get bum rushed. Like,
they should have brought the riot gear, bro.
It's definitely. Oh yeah, they should have been prepared. It's embarrassing, super embarrassing for the United States. Not that they were there, but the response was so lacking, and it's just like nothing seriously happened. People are talking about a coup. Like, no, there's no coup. There's nothing that they could have done to overchange anything other than just disrupt the process. It's like, even despite everything that happened, they met up later that night to do the same shit that they were going to do. There's nothing effectively that they could have done. It's just the response looked silly. It just made America, DC, it just made us look really bad on the world stage. Like, you have world leaders clowning us and just looking at us like as if our, political situation isn't already kind of like laughable. This just made it worse. This was like the cherry on top. It's like, wow, you guys are really out to lunch. I've
been doing a deep dive really this past week. What's the app that they kind of shut down, or kind of trying to shut down? Parler, yeah. Parler videos, like a bunch of I follow this. I saw this one thread on Twitter where this guy shared like 14 Parler videos of actual raw footage. You know what I mean? Unedited.
It's crazy.
It's like a lot of wild shit was going on like inside. Not to mention the FBI recently, over the past few days, they've been like, and different news outlets have been coming up with new pieces of information that, of course it was unsuccessful and wildly under prepared or whatever, but a bunch of cats did have walkie-talkies. A bunch of cats did have earpieces. Like,
they had walkie-talkies, earpieces. Some of them had flashbang grenades. Some of them had flashbangs. Those fucking smoke grenades. People were wearing camo. People were wearing fucking bulletproof vests. It's the regular American redneck shit. But like, to have regular all Trump that coalesce at the fucking Capitol building is sad. It's embarrassing.
These Bass Pro Shop customers,
fucking Cabela's,
the
back of Dick's Sporting Goods in Tuscaloosa, like
they went
mad camo,
mad camo, mad tobacco chew, mad like Marlboro cigarette packs. Like, it was crazy, bro. But like I said, the FBI is coming out with new and different outlets. They're coming out with new information every day. That I think they're up to 100 arrests. But a lot of dudes are going to be copping pleas and be like, listen, all right, I can give you like 5 or 10 dudes that were like that showed up.
Oh my God, the snitching is going to be out of control.
It's going to be out of control.
It's going to be out of control. People are there. A lot of them are already on the no-fly list.
Yes.
So
yes,
I was gonna say like I get most of my news from Black Twitter, right? So when FBI put on Twitter like, yo, if you have any information, everybody was like, yo, this guy, his name is such and such. Like, they were just dropping so many.
It's so stupid. What crazy. The fuck did they think was going to happen?
Right off the plane. Like, where are you going?
Son, and they were taking pictures. B, who's that person that took the picture in this?
Bunch of them.
Chair? Like,
taking pictures. They're filming themselves and incriminating themselves.
They're on Instagram,
bro. That's so 2020 to incriminate yourself, to film yourself doing something illegal. That's like across the board. 2020, this is the new shit. let's film ourselves doing something illegal.
To take it a step further,
and then, you know,
this dude was on TikTok. I think he was like an IT. He does IT for like FBI or NSA or whatever. He was like, listen, not for nothing. Of course, this is a very secure building in terms of like cameras everywhere. But to take it a step further with Bluetooth, GPS, and other GPS tracing on people's phones,
the cell phone towers,
and the cell phone towers,
yeah. Cell phone towers. Oh my God!
Before they even get into the building, there's a certain part when they get into the property that automatically their information gets logged into government databases. So they said the FBI over like that in itself is going to make the FBI's job so much easier over the next like week or 2 weeks or month. They're just going to be like, listen, okay, your cell phone was found at this time when the when the riots took place. You might be in in North Dakota right now, but you're going to get a knock on the door from a field office of the FBI and say like, yo, excuse me, what were you doing? And you're going to have to come with us and answer some questions to match with the video that they already had, to match with the cell phone log.
Yeah.
So it's just another layer of stupidity that these people didn't take into account just because they covered their faces or whatever. No, you brought your phone out and you were on Insta Live.
And why would you fly there? You fucking like
using your real name.
Oh my God! Why would you fly there?
You fly there and you stay at a hotel.
Holy shit!
And you stay at a Holiday Inn.
Oh my God!
Giving all your credit card information. Like, bro, it's
yo, and a lot of them probably left being proud of themselves. Probably went to the Waffle House, wherever the fuck they have in DC. Like, yeah, man, that was fun, bro. Yeah,
we got
Olive Garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, so one of the things I saw on social media was a lot of comparison to like, I guess the Black Lives Matter protests in regards to just the police response and stuff like that. Like, what do y'all think about that? Do you think it's even a fair comparison to be making?
No. I don't think it's a fair comparison because it's just way different. See, when you come with the Black Lives Matter protests, it's weird because it's not just the Black Lives Matter protests. There are like so many parties and people and individuals involved that it's hard to pinpoint what was happening. And on one end, you see some cops kneeling. On other hand, you see some cops, you know, cracking skulls. It was like, it's this nationwide thing that was, it wasn't coordinated. It happened independently in all these different places. So I don't think it's fair to say, be like, oh yeah, well, look at the police response here, where you're taking one isolated case and then you're comparing it to something that happened, actually not nationwide, worldwide, all over the place. And there's independent situations. You know, you can't compare what happened to New York to what happened to Seattle, where they literally took over a neighborhood and burnt down a fucking police. Like, it's not comparable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, the immediate comparison that a lot of people were making that was justified. I remember, I think a week or two before the election, Reverend Al Sharpton and Martin Luther King III, they had mentioned that they were going to do another March on Washington to commemorate Dr. King's March on Washington a few decades back. And there were National Guard that were stationed in front of the Lincoln Memorial in droves, just waiting for a black person or a protester, quote unquote, to step foot anywhere near before they were going to get taken down or shot. And they showed the picture. They're freaking lined up like freaking the Watchmen. Just ready. Just Batman versus Bane.
Yeah.
Bane and freaking Dark Knight Rises. And I'm just like, yeah, that's like, let it have been a BLM or freaking social justice type of protest or whatnot. It wouldn't have gone down like that. Or even take it a step further. Another comparison they were making was with Raphael Warnock. I think it was about 7 years ago. He brought a couple members to just pray they pray for Congress in regards to, I think, Medicare or Obamacare or whatnot. And he got arrested. He got arrested. And this is now an elected senator of the United States.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just a reverend. He got arrested. Meanwhile, you got, again, Bass Pro Shop folk just roaming freely.
Well, guess who's the commander in chief of the National Guard?
45.
Yep, that's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that factors into it, for sure.
And oh my God, that's so stupid, man. But yeah, I mean, that is a valid comparison. It's like if it was something that wasn't aligned to whatever this administration, is favorable to, yeah, the response would have been way different. Like, had it been anything else, you best believe like boots would have been on the ground.
Yeah.
But it's not like apples and apples to comparison.
No, you're right on that.
But yeah, the stormtroopers would have been out.
Yeah, immediately.
But like the old school, we're talking about the Republic stormtroopers that can aim, not the fucking new ones that miss everything.
With the music in the background and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I actually want to talk about, I guess, the aftermath of some of these things, specifically what happened to Trump, right? So after this, there's two, I would say, important things that happen. There's the impeachment and also him just getting banned from social media.
All social media.
I want to quickly talk about the social media bans because that is kind of like a big deal. So if I'm not mistaken, the reason that the social media companies decided to take to actually do something about it, and maybe it's also because it's really close to him just being out the door, was because he, like, during these riots, he was in a sense encouraging it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the last straw. They were like, nah, we got to cut you off. So so they cut him off, but I do want to point out that Gab is a company, another social media company. They got all his tweets. That actually have gathered all his tweets, and they recreated his account on Gab. And apparently they're doing it with a few other of his social media profiles. I know YouTube specifically was one that they made a comment on. So there's kind of one thing I want to point out, or several things. I'm glad that someone shut him up, but I worry about, I guess, where this can go. Because, it was always nice not nice, but it was always, I think, to our benefit to be able to see his thoughts. It's just like everybody see it, right? Because everybody's on this platform. But I think this might take social media in a different direction, where because of this, right? I think we might end up with maybe more. How do I call it? Like a the decentralization of social media platforms. If things do go in this direction, right?
What do you mean?
So right now, right, there are a bunch of social media platforms, right? But the main ones that we think about are like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, things like that, right? Yeah. So now that he got banned from these platforms, right, there's an opportunity for other social media platforms to rise and take the place of, and pretty much do what these other companies were doing, but for the people that are, for the rebels, whatever, for Trump in this specific case. So I think it's good and bad. I think it's good, right? Decentralizing of any type of service. I think it's good. But I don't know exactly where this could, it could turn out to be really bad, right? Imagine having a super private social media network, right? Where it's just like, maybe you need some type of membership, some crazy shit is going on there. But yeah, man, I just, the social media thing, I think it's gonna be very, very interesting. I think just in the coming months, just in regards to just just free speech and just the role of tech companies. At the end of the day, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of glad that he got the smack in the face, but I don't really know how to feel about it long term.
Well,
oh shit! Everyone's like,
everybody's ready to go in on this. Who wants to go first? I'm fine either way.
I'll try to be quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So I share your feelings. I'm ambivalent about it because it sucks because people who are Trump supporters are saying this is like some huge shot to freedom of speech, which isn't necessarily true. Twitter, Facebook, they're all companies. They all have the right to ban whomever. According to them, they banned Trump over the violation of the TOS terms of service, which is bullshit. They're publicly traded companies and they're going to do what's best for their platform. And they probably decided that having Trump on their platform isn't good for their brand. It's just is what it is. They have to answer to the shareholders. So this is, from there, and it's less of like a ideological sort of move, but it's more like just like a company move looking toward the future. Like, okay, we had our fun with Trump. We're done. We'll move on. Now he's like, he sucks for the brand, whatever. We get him the fuck out. On the other end, it does suck that so much of the public discourse, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even to a degree TikTok, this is like the public square circa 2020, right? And if you have these three companies, one that's primarily owned by a Chinese company, and then Instagram, Facebook owned by Facebook, and Twitter owned by Twitter. You basically have these three companies who could oversee, change, and shift the direction of public discourse, not only through who they ban, but through the algorithms, what they show you, things of that nature. So I just think this was like a reminder of like where we're at. This just shows how much power that they have, how much they could leverage, and just like DK said, in a weird way, it is good to have other people step in, even if they're helping someone like Trump, having more chefs in the kitchen could help diffuse some of that power that they have over like the public discourse.
Well, I completely 1000% agree with you, Ed Boy, and you, DK. You got like that. Those are the thoughts that came in my mind when he finally got kicked off. I was on Twitter and I saw a video from, I believe it was 2016 or 2017. Somebody from CNN where they were interviewing Kamala about Trump and tweeting, and was like, listen, do you think that he's like enabling, like, you think people can die from his tweets? Basically, that's the interviewer was very straightforward with it, and Kamala was like, yes, absolutely, like he is dangerous with his tweeting. Like how can, and then the interviewer was just like, but what about freedom of speech? And Kamala was like, freedom of speech is not licensed to kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like this guy has at the time 60 million followers. Currently, before he got shut down, he had about 88 million followers. And the manifestos for a number of mass shooters, they were Trump supporters. Freaking Derek Chauvin was a Trump supporter. Kyle Rittenhouse was a Trump supporter. Like you see the common theme here. And the rioters or treasoners or whatever you want to call them, the majority of them were MAGA hat wearing Trump supporters. Like there's a common theme here. So it's like this guy was, it's not a matter of speculation. This guy was emboldening. We've mentioned on this show so many times. He was emboldening people to do some wild, outlandish shit. And now blood is on his hands, really, from tweeting. You can't. There's no way you can dismiss it. There's no way you can, like, obviously, if you're an apologist for the Republican Party, like Josh Hawley or Ted Cruz, they can make up some bullshit, or Marjorie, whatever name, the Cunin psycho, they can find a way to spin it and be like, well, he's got freedom of speech and, yada, yada, yada. But listen, at the end of the day, a lot of the craziness and a lot of the death and a lot of the wild violence that you can point back to white supremacy at the end of the day, because that's the meat and potatoes about it. Like, his tweets have played a big role in it. And of course his speeches and his freaking pep rallies as well. But his tweets, you can't say that it didn't. So for him to be shut down, this is something that should have happened years ago. It's a shame that it took something of this magnitude that's going to be in the freaking history books long after we're all gone for this guy to have been removed from Twitter. But this is something that could have been prevented, I believe. If he didn't have a Twitter account, I'm hard pressed to believe something like this would have been as seamless. You know what I mean? But hey, here we are.
Wow.
What about you?
He's like, I agree.
Like, what the fuck?
Back to you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. It goes to show the power of speech and the power of weaponizing your fan base. One, we only had two presidents who use social media, Obama being the first, and now Trump being the second. You guys, one for good, one for evil, depending on how you look at it. And,
that's so spot on.
And
oh my God.
It's scary, but it also begs the question: like, if somebody else chooses to weaponize their fan base, are we going to silence them as well? And if Trump is going to be silenced if he does find a way, like you were talking about, Jose, if he has a secret social media, right, or creates a Trump network,
a burner account,
right, or creates a Trump network, a Trump social media network where he himself has the power to silence himself or whomever is on his platform, that's a whole nother superpower that he can then create and weaponize and use to move whatever needs to be moved. And it also, another standpoint, you said two things. You said impeachment and you said
I was gonna go to the impeachment next, but just social media.
Yeah, before we get to the impeachment part, I'm worried about the inauguration.
Why?
He thinks Biden's going to get assassanated.
Nah, I don't think Biden's going to get assassinated.
And then Kamala's going to be president.
Kamala.
This was their plan all along. I'm telling you.
Yeah, she's a Trump sleeper agent. She's really the mole.
This is like Manchurian Candidate. Like.
Yeah, right.
They stoned the Capitol. I never thought that could happen, and now we got all this other stuff happening.
They're not holding the inauguration online and shit like that. They're gonna have like it outside, or they're gonna have
it's gonna be outside. They've already started to set up for it.
Yo, bro. So why you think he's gonna get murked? Where's this coming from?
I didn't say I think he's gonna get murked.
Oh, okay. Are you on God, bro?
That was Ed Boy. That was Ed Boy.
Oh.
But if they storm the Capitol for the votes, what's gonna stop them from storming the inauguration?
That's not gonna happen.
You don't think so?
Ooh, let's see in a week.
I mean, there are people that'll show up. There are people that'll show up, but after that sort of blunder, like no one, like even people, even Republicans don't want to see that shit happen. Like they don't want to. They don't want to seem like, I think America in general doesn't want to project the idea that they're not in control. So I think this will be super fucking locked down. It'll be out of control locked down. There'll definitely be people doing something stupid, like 100%. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they find more like pipe bombs or whatever like being planted, or if they're not planted already, or people will do dumb shit. But I think this is going to be crazy lockdown, and like anyone who does shit is going to be severely like ran through, because if anything, America doesn't want to look weak, and right now they look stupid. Like we look dumb right now. So
yeah, facts. No, it's going to be like freaking Designated Survivor meets House of Cards meets freaking meets Homeland. Like to get through and do something nutty, in my opinion, for the inauguration. Like,
yo, Biden's gonna have a loadout. He's gonna have a COD loadout.
Facts.
He's gonna have the Model 18s akimbo, bro.
Dog. Nah, they're gonna have like the perimeter. The perimeter net is gonna be casted like, listen, if you want to enter this, you got to come through like Virginia.
It's gonna be fucking nuts.
Yeah, so I doubt anything wild's gonna happen to fourth quarter.
And Biden's gonna demand that shit to be locked down. He's like, yo, bro. Yeah, it's gonna be stupid lockdown.
Well then, so the other thing that came out of that was the impeachment thing. So I think the big question a lot of people have is like, why now? And just to point out, like they're moving through with it, I believe, to start it off, but they're not even going to be able to start anything until the 19th, which is also the day right before he's before the inauguration. So what's kind of like the point. So I didn't look. There's one specific point that I looked into that I thought made a lot of sense, and I'm hoping comes out of this. Is that he gets? I guess if they successfully can convict him. They also have the opportunity to vote to bar him from holding office ever again. And maybe that's like a wish list for me. But I feel like that's kind of like what I want. I'm not sure about all the other things that could come out of that, all the other things he could lose. But I think the most important thing is being able to just bar him from office. Because I think his game of politics is just very toxic. And like, I think if we can just like ban them all together from doing anything like that, I think that'll kind of send a good message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'll be a second vote, though. That's a second.
Yeah. It's a second. Yeah. It's a second vote. It's a second vote.
I think from everything I've been following with that, I think that's the end goal. That's so important. especially with this being a Democratic controlled Senate now and a Democratic controlled House, as well as the president. They got the sweep. The Dems got what they wanted. They got the sweep in terms of all three branches of government. So they want to A, send a message, and B, that with aside from all this madness, it is still not outside of the realm of possibility that this guy would try to run again in 2024. That's just me. I felt that way from the beginning. I'm just like, watch him still try to run, or if not him try to run, he'll like be like a shadow puppet master in the background and push one of his people through to try to run on his behalf. Like prop up Ivanka or one of his other idiot sons to to keep the MAGA spirit alive 4 years from now.
Actually, that's exactly what would happen if he got barred anyways. Fuck.
I could see that. So that's why it makes so much sense for the Dems to I say the Dems because Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, they're the ones spearheading this, bro. Like, and AOC, shout out to AOC. She dropped the freaking Ether diss track video.
I was listening to it.
Yeah, yo. She went in. I love her, man. But yeah, like it's important for them to send that message to prevent him from running again. Because I don't know. Do you guys feel? I think he would try to run again.
I think he would.
I think he would. I really
after Biden?
Maybe.
I think he would.
I think
he'll step into it and he'd be like, "Yo, fuck it, I'm with it."
Yeah,
I think that maybe, that
right there. Yeah,
I think it's a possibility, but I think like your other scenario is more likely that he'll have someone run in his stead because at this point, like once he leaves office, the Trump brand is secure for many generations. There's
movies.
Remember like we were talking about before, there's going to be Trump is going to be a genre of media. There's going to be documentaries. I won't be surprised if he has his own network or if he buys an existing network. He's like Trump. Everything is going to go through he's going to be doing interviews. He's going to be doing talks. It's going to be insane. So I think it might be just as likely that he'll just do that and then maybe have one of his sons or one of his lieutenants or some populist figure, like a Farrakhan like a Trump Farrakhan.
Josh Hawley
will rise from the ranks and come and take the mantle.
It's Josh Hawley. It's Josh Hawley. They're putting all their chips into that freaking fascist wannabe. Like AOC came at him so hard. She was like, Josh Hawley, you will never be president. You will never be president.
Yo, be careful. Yo, be careful. Be careful what you say.
That's what we said about Trump.
Be careful what you say, exactly.
I know, right?
Word.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be president. Okay, we'll see.
Right.
That's exactly how Trump became president. Like, okay.
Exactly. I bet.
So, going back to the impeachment thing, is there anything else that he would lose?
I don't know if this is true, but doesn't he lose like how when presidents aren't presidents anymore, they still have certain presidential
like Secret Service?
Yeah. Does he lose that when he gets impeached?
That's a good question. I'm
that
not
is
sure.
a good question.
I think maybe because all right, you need the 2/3 majority in the Senate for him to get ousted. Not just the impeachment, but for him to like go through, and then the second for him to get disqualified is a simple majority. Yeah. So if they can get through that 2/3 Senate vote, then the other one's easy. I don't know if that's going to happen. I still think a lot of I think the establishment Republicans have already moved past Trump. They never really liked him to begin with. They just used him because, or they were scared of him. You say anything against Trump, you're done.
Mitch McConnell.
They're like,
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, so they're like, oh yeah, fuck it. I don't know. I still think there's a good amount of Republicans who either A, support Trump, or B, are too scared to really go through, and truly vote him out. Like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I think they're going to go through with it. I think that it's like, because again, they've got enough Republicans on board in the Senate to make it happen. So I think they're going to, and again, they want to, the Democrats want to send a message, plain and simple. They're just like, yo, again, we got the sweep. Let's set the tone for what this next 2 to 4 years, or possibly 8 years, if Joey goes back to back, is going to be. And what better way to do that as to like completely eviscerate and vanquish the Trump monster, quote unquote, for now. for now. We'll see what happens in 4 years when, you know, the next one is birthed. Because I feel like this story is not over yet.
Yeah.
Sad to say. It's just gonna keep.
Oh
going.
no, it's not going to be over. This is going to be with us. Like, this is the new sort of normal. Like, this sort of populism, right-wing populism. That's just going to be with us. Or it could be left. Whatever sort of populism. That's just what it is. Too many people don't really pay attention, but still feel dispossessed, right? And they're, you know, they have every right to feel dispossessed. So that's just going to be, that's a genre of politics, populism now. That's a new genre. Like, that's a new mixtape. It's going to come out. It's going to be coming out part 2, part 3, part 4. It's going to keep coming out for the foreseeable future.
So in a sense, you're saying that like the Trump of cult is here to stay.
Yeah, the cult of personality. This is the way cult
He's here.
He's a concept, bro.
So yeah, I don't think that he'll just kind of like die out, right? Because it's just like about the news cycle.
No.
He made an impact.
I mean, we still have people. We still have Reaganites, right? Like that shit doesn't go away. Like, once you have that cult of personality, that could stay. That's decades, bro.
I gotta watch that documentary,
dude. The fact that 2 points. The fact that Holly's young. He's like around AOC's age, bro. Like, dog, he's all about it. He's got
another 40, 50 years to talk some shit.
Facts. So he's the quote unquote heir apparent to all of this MAGA nonsense. Plus, on top of that, the other point is, what's weird is baked in all this MAGA populist nonsense is actually people that are just like, yo, we feel like the government let us down with the $2,000 checks versus $600 checks. They're right. Those are ones that you would think would like come to their senses and like, you know, switch over. But no, they're just like, no, I can't let go of my white supremacy and my my Confederacy ties. I can't let the racism go. You know what I mean? I can't let the xenophobia and misogyny. I can't let that go. But in a sense, they get it. They get it. Like, yo, like, we need to hold these freaking corporate Republicans. We got to hold them accountable, but they're just going about it the wrong way. And their racism and their white supremacy is baked into it, which is why, fuck them. They're terrible people. Any way you slice it. So that's what's going on.
I hope you guys are fucking wrong, man. I feel like you guys are 100% right. But I wanted to be wrong so badly. I just wanted to disappear, man. He's the fucking supervillain that shows up in every fucking Fast and the Furious movie, son. I'm so tired of fucking Spirit Guy.
We're the precogs from Minority Report, bro. We know what the fuck is happening.
Nah, yeah. We're Spotlight, which is a great movie, by the way.
Trump is a concept. He's not even a person anymore. He's a concept.
Yo, he's a meme. He's a fucking meme, and he's gonna be here for a long ass time. Whether it's Trump, it doesn't have to be MAGA. Let's say people forget about MAGA. It doesn't matter. That whole idea of the cult of personality, it's something that's gone throughout history. It's being recycled. This is just the version that we're seeing it. It's going to be another version of it.
Shout out to Living Color. They're a freaking progressive rock group, and it's an all black rock group. They have a song called "Cult of Personality."
Oh,
it's CM Punk's theme song. You know what I mean? Like, but it is Trump. Listen to the freaking song. It's talking about all of this.
Yeah.
Like, to a T.
So fuck the. So do y'all think there is a difference? I guess I want to talk about, I guess, the Republican Party, specifically how Trump's influenced it. Mm-hmm. And I guess just where it's going to go in the future. There's some people that are saying, or some articles, some highlights that I saw that said that like the Republican Party is dead. I can see why somebody would say that. I can see why somebody like me would want to read it. So I don't know how you guys think about that. Like, I guess when you think about is Trumpism and the Republican Party, are they different? Do you guys think moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think is going to happen to the Republican Party after Trump?
I think there's always going to be a divide, but at the end of the day, it's a power game, and politicians vast majority of Republicans aren't going to abandon the Republican Party, because doing so, you'd be ceding you'd be ceding power. Politics at the end of the day is a game of power. It hurts the Republican Party, but it sounds cliche, but it's really going to be up to the people. Are people going to stick with the Republican Party? Actually, are people going to stick with Democrats, right? Because not only do you have this right-wing populism on the Republican side, but on the Democrat side, you have very progressive people like AOC, and the moderate Democrats do not fuck with that. The larger established, or at least the way I see it, the larger establishment of the Republicans and the Democrats who are more closer to the center, whatever that means, or more status quo. They want to return back to like the days of Bush, Clinton, where there was some sort of like back and forth, but it was mostly on like social issues, right? There was some sort of like cohesion, and there was a way to keep sort of the American machine going, and people from the far left, not really far left, but people who are more left and people who are more right, like you have the Trumps on one side and progressives on the other side, they're going to want to have their voices heard. And there's really going to be a battle between, I think on both sides, it's going to be between a battle between the status quo and people who want change. That's just what it's going to be. And it's very obvious on the Republican side with Trumpism and, all that jazz. But on the other hand, like there's AOC, Omar, you have a lot of progressives, mostly concentrated on the coast, right? Where progressivism is very alive and very rich. Not necessarily the case with the rest of the rest of the Democratic Party. That sort of feeling of progressive policy, like Medicare for all, things like that, like that shit doesn't really fly throughout the rest of the party. So I think there's going to be a lot of contention, and hopefully in the long run, this is like a huge like pie in the sky thing, but we get something more like a European system where there's many parties that are viable. Parties that are viable, many sort of kind of like a parliamentary system where it's not just like two parties, but you have many different parties.
Like Bridgerton?
Like Hart. No, you said
Bridgerton, it's a Netflix show.
Oh, my bad. I think you said like Britain. Like, no, they kind of have like a two-party thing too. But like continental Europe, where they have like a whole bunch of parties influencing, and politicians are generally, at least as far as my knowledge, generally more accountable to the people than they are here. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fighting on all sides.
Yeah, there's basically Ed Boy summed it all up. Like you're gonna have the fight, you're gonna have the war within the wars on both sides. To answer your question, DK, like both parties, believe it or not, in my opinion, especially after all of this, they are effectively split. And the splits are even more noticeable when you really think about, like, a prime example, for instance, is the two Georgia Senate seats, right? We kind of talked about this a couple episodes ago. Both Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff is more so a corporate Democrat through and through. Like that, there's just no hiding it. Like he did an interview with Axios TV. We mentioned this a couple episodes ago. They asked him about everything, all the progressive agendas, Medicare for all. Nah, I don't fuck with that. Green New Deal. I don't fuck with that. Universal basic income. I don't fuck with that either.
He wanted to win.
He wanted, but $2,000 checks directly in the hands of Americans. Yeah, I get with that because I have to get with that because that's going to get me the seat. Plain and simple. Raphael Warnock, on the other hand, he's way more progressive. He's down with a lot of that stuff. Like him, like he was like Andrew Yang was rocking with him from day one when he got down there. You know what I mean? Yang was rocking with both of them.
Yang gang, he's going to run for mayor in New York.
Yeah, sidebar.
Yeah.
So, but basically, just if you look at those two senators from Georgia, that right there, that really encapsulates what's going on in the Democratic Party, and to an even higher, lesser degree, to the Republican Party, because you got two different ideologies that are dominant within those parties. That four different mindsets that really reflect what's going on in the country right now. And basically, whoever comes out of that will get the respective nominations when the presidential election comes up to 4 years from now, and even 2 years from now, I believe, for the gubernatorial and other races, House races. So this is politics, bro. This is politics. It's a lot of layers, man. It's a lot. It's really on some Game of Thrones shit, bro. It's a lot of battles within battles, man, and sub genres, so to speak. So yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's going to be, man, it's going to be crazy because, establishment Republicans and Democrats, they definitely have mutually shared interests, and their outlooks are much closer to each other than people on the far right and the far left. Much more aligned. So you're going to see, in a weird way, you're going to see a lot of cooperation between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to the inner workings, because they're going to be like, I don't know who these new people, I don't know who the fuck they are, but we're America. We're going to keep this shit American. We'll form like Voltron, and we'll have them, let them have their little fiefdoms, but they're not gonna run shit.
How do you think us, like our crew, is going to be affected in the future?
Well, it depends who you associate with. Like I'm definitely progressive. Like I was independent until really the last 3 or 4 years. I really started rocking with this freaking universal basic income and health insurance, Medicare for all, and like Yang Gang, AOC, Katie Porter, the whole crew, the whole squad, rest in peace to John Lewis. I started rocking with that. So seeing that's where the younger crew, I guess 35 and under is still considered young. Thank God. I don't want to be old yet. 35 and under.
I'm
all about
30's that. 30's kind of a cutoff, but it's cool.
Whatever. Whatever. I rock with those ideals because it makes sense because it's catered toward the future.
Okay.
And, you know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, it depends. All of our situations we're all going to be affected, right? But I think us four personally, we have pretty good support systems. We have family, we have friends. I think regardless, anything less than like a nuclear holocaust, we're going to be okay. As long as you have a support system, you'll be all right. It won't be optimal, but people who don't have family, people who don't have friends, people who don't have access to education, people who are already in a fucked situation, it could get real bad because it's already bad, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, so
until we weaponize our fan base and get banned.
Until AOC becomes president.
Oh man, bro, that's that. If she becomes president, there's going to have to be a major shift in how people view her. Because a lot of people, she's loved by a very big chunk of Americans, but to everyone else, she's either fringe or the devil. So I think for anyone to be president, especially with the establishment on notice now, they're going to have to fall in line. They're going to have to be they're going to have to be like an Ossoff. Like Ossoff can be like, he's charismatic. He's a nice guy. He won't rock the boat. He's cool. That's our dude. It's why the DNC would support a Biden over Bernie, because Bernie came the closest. He was Icarus. He got too close to the sun, and then his wings melted. He got too close. He almost reached Mount Olympus. He almost got there, and then they were like, "Nah, son, too close to call."
Nah, you're right, bro. You're spot on. John Ossoff is the closest we're gonna get right now. You know what I mean? It's
that's a good guy.
I look progressive.
Yeah, like him.
But I'm not.
Like a Buttigieg, but a lot of people still hate gay people. But once they get over that shit, maybe him. Very moderate, like even on the Republican side.
No wonder I couldn't cut you motherfuckers off because I've muted myself.
Oh shit!
You guys just went on. I was like, nah, man. Let's bring it back to the Republican Party because we can speak about this shit.
I didn't know you were trying
forever, bro.
I didn't know. Here's like fucking Hollywood Square, fucking XSL.
I was like, bloop, bloop, bloop. So here's kind of like my thing with just like everything that just kind of went on with the Republican Party the last 4 years, because I'm really upset about the fact that they supported a personality like Trump, and then just all the ridiculous nonsense that that party just like really like supported. Like at the end of the day, man, the whole like my man from the get goes. It's just like the way they attacked like just media, the way they attacked the media. The way they attacked, like they made out the Democrats to seem like criminals, and I'm sure there's a bunch of criminals in there. But that's the same shit on both sides. And then just these stupid the public hearings and stuff like that. How they went on like after the elections, how they would go on TV and then just kind of like speak in a way to kind of give the illusion that something else was happening. Like this whole thing, right? It's the thing about it is like in these last few months, right? This was really like the next season of like House of Cards, where it was like a lazy attempt at a coup, right? Like, I don't think it was a coup, like in the sense that it was supposed to be successful, but I think they wanted to create that illusion. And it's just annoying that they, in my opinion, they supported this illusion and they wanted this illusion to be put out there, man. So it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, that's just ridiculous to me. Well, it was to me, that's just ridiculous.
Here's the thing: it was always there, though. Like white supremacy and freaking whacked out radicalism, whatever you want to call it, it's always there. They're always going to have a portion of your population that is into that QAnon, crazy, wild, racist shit. It's always going to be there. My thing is, I'm with you. The fact that it was being entertained by major networks and covered by major networks, and they're getting all this exposure or whatnot. And of course, and prior to Twitter silencing Trump and all the other major social media outlets silencing him, you're feeding into this fantasy world, bro. Because they were always there. They didn't just come out of thin air, bro. You have to understand that. A lot of people need to understand that. Like these whacked out crazies were always here. White supremacy is always going to be here. It's always going to show up. It's always going to be here. I feel like AOC, because she covered this in her ether disc. Like, bro, it's always there. It's always there. But the thing is,
what an optimist,
bro. It's not going away because it's a culture, bro. It's taught. Like, bro, there's still people that still rock with Jim Crow. Oh, Jim Crow is like what century are we in, bro? Like Jim Crow.
That was only 60 years ago.
It was only 60 years ago, but still, bro, that's almost a century. That's halfway to a century, bro. It's a while ago, bro. So that's what I'm saying. It's like that mindset and that ideology is always going to be there. It's just they've been empowered and emboldened for it to surface, and in the Riots case to boil over and do something about it. So that's where I'm coming from. That's how I see it, and that's how I always see it.
DK, I think we're growing up because it's like, you're like, why were other Republicans encouraging it? Why are they complacent? And politics, at the end of the day, it's a power game, right? You follow the power, you don't go against the power, you wait for your opportunity, and then you could do things. Hence why now all of a sudden Republicans are like, yeah, impeach Trump. Like they couldn't say that. They couldn't even say that 2 months ago. They couldn't even say that. That's like committing political suicide. It's not just following the will of the people. It's like your main objective is to at very least remain in power. Mm-hmm. So I think we're growing up and we're seeing it. We're like, oh my God, this is fucking ridiculous. And it is ridiculous if we operate under the assumption that their job is to purely act in the best interest of the people.
Nope.
Facts.
Their primary job is to stay in office. That's numero uno. And
if they help us along the line, yeah, cool. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, fantastic. I'm sure that they would rather, I don't think that people in politics are these mustache twirling evil people, but it's like when you're in the moment, some of them are, but like when you're surrounded in this, when you're in this culture, when you're surrounded in this sort of dog eat dog world, Like I think it conditions you, and only certain people rise to the top. Like certain people who are willing to make certain sacrifices of their own values, of people in general. Like you can't become president, you know, not being, or you can't reach a high office, in my opinion, without being some sort of like Machiavellian, like some version of that. Even people who we would prop up, even someone like an AOC or Omar, I would bet money that they had to do some Machiavellian shit at some point to get to where they are. And it doesn't make them evil. That's just what it is. That's just how people are, because the people who are totally principled, people who don't break the rules, are always going to lose to people who are willing to at least bend the rules at some point. I think we just realize it. And
always prosper.
Ooh, yo, those are nuggets from the base, bro, and that's the base.
Rundown.
Yeah, damn, that was pretty good.
Kamala was in a
Kampala Harrison.